You checked the numbers on a Wednesday, not at home, not on your couch with a beer and your feet up. You were standing in the back aisle of a CVS at 11:40 p.m. because you needed allergy medicine, and the self-checkout screen was too bright, and your phone was at 8%, and you opened the lottery app because you open the lottery app the same way you open Instagram. Without thinking, without expecting anything, you matched, all 6. You didn't cry. You put the allergy medicine in the bag, walked to your car, sat in the driver's seat for 9 minutes without starting the engine, and then drove home at exactly the speed limit. You kissed your wife on the forehead. She was already asleep. You put the ticket in a manila envelope, placed it in your sock drawer underneath a pair of black dress socks you haven't worn since a funeral 2 years ago, and you lay in bed until 5 a.m., staring at a ceiling that looked exactly the same as it did before you were worth $600 million. That was 3 days ago. You went to work Thursday. You went to work Friday. You are sitting in traffic right now on a Saturday, driving to a hardware store for a replacement hinge for a kitchen cabinet, and the envelope is in the sock drawer, and your hands are steady, and nobody on this highway knows. This is a story about what happens in the silence between checking the numbers and making the first phone call, because that silence is where most people lose everything. Chapter 1. The Sock Drawer. The ticket has been in the drawer for 72 hours now. You've checked the numbers 11 more times. You photographed the front and back with your phone. You screenshot the winning results from 3 different websites. You know. And the knowing is the heaviest thing you have ever carried. You almost told your wife on Thursday morning. She was making coffee, and she asked if you slept okay, and the words were right there, right behind your teeth. You said, "Yeah, just allergies," and you watched her pour the creamer, and you felt your pulse in your fingertips. You almost told your brother on Friday. He called to ask if you wanted to go fishing on Sunday. You said sure. You talked for 4 minutes about the weather and a coworker he doesn't like, and you hung up and you sat on the edge of the bed and put your face in your hands, not because you were sad, because the gap between what you know and what everyone around you knows is becoming physically difficult to hold. Here is the thing about silence, though. Silence is a structure. And right now, silence is the only structure protecting you from a series of decisions that have financially destroyed roughly 1 in 3 major lottery winners, according to the Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards. The National Endowment for Financial Education has publicly denied the viral 70% go broke statistic. The real numbers are debated by researchers. But even conservative peer-reviewed studies show that large prize winners file for bankruptcy at elevated rates compared to the general population. The timeline is grim. The median onset of financial ruin, by some estimates, hits around 5 years. 5 years. That's not a long time. That's 1 car lease. The silence in that sock drawer is not weakness. It's the first intelligent financial decision you've made since Wednesday night. If you've watched this channel before, you already know we don't talk about Lamborghinis or penthouse views. We talk about the math underneath the quiet decisions. And if this is your first time here, subscribe, because this is the channel that's going to walk you through what the smartest version of you does in the next 90 days. Chapter 2. The 37% you already lost. You won $600 million, but you didn't win $600 million. That number is the advertised jackpot, the number the gas station sign shows, the number your coworker will mention on Monday in the break room while talking about someone else. Did you hear? 600 million. Can you even imagine? You can. You're imagining it right now, and the number is wrong. If you take the lump sum, which most financial advisors recommend for investment flexibility, the cash payout is typically around 60% of the advertised figure. On a $600 million jackpot, that's roughly $360 million. That's the first haircut. You lost $240 million before you opened the envelope. The second haircut is federal. The IRS withholds 24% immediately. That's roughly $86 million gone before the money clears. But 24% is just the withholding. Your actual federal tax rate on this income is 37%, which in 2026 applies to single filers earning above $640,600. Your entire payout qualifies, so you owe another 13% on top of what was already withheld. Roughly $47 million more when you file your return. State taxes vary. If you live in a state with no income tax on lottery winnings, like Florida, Texas, or Wyoming, you keep more. If you live in New York, the state takes another 10.9%. New York City residents lose an additional 3.876% on top of that. Let's say you live in a no-tax state. Your lump sum was $360 million. Federal taxes take roughly $133 million. You are left with approximately $227 million. You won $600 million. You have $227 million. That's the number. Write it on a napkin. Fold it. Put it in your pocket. Because that napkin is the truth, and the billboard outside the gas station was the fantasy. And every decision you make from here forward needs to start from the napkin number, not the billboard. The people who go broke after winning? Most of them spent the billboard. Chapter 3. The first phone call. It's not who you think. You are going to make a phone call, but it's not going to be to your mother. It's not going to be to your best friend. It's not going to be to your wife. Your first phone call is to an estate planning attorney who has specific experience with lottery claims and high net worth clients, not a general practice lawyer, not your uncle who knows some law, an attorney who understands blind trusts, asset protection, and the tax code around windfalls of this size. Most states give you between 90 days and a full year to claim a lottery prize. The prize does not earn interest while you wait, but the time is not wasted. The time is the most valuable asset you have right now, more valuable than the ticket itself, because what you build in this window determines whether you keep the money or become a statistic. Your attorney will tell you 3 things before anything else. First, do not claim the ticket yet. Second, do not tell anyone who does not have a legal obligation to protect your information. Third, sign the back of the ticket and put it in a bank safe deposit box. Not a home safe. A bank safe deposit box with your name on the rental agreement, so there's a documented chain of custody. After the attorney, you call a CPA, not an H&R Block seasonal preparer, a certified public accountant who handles 7- and 8-figure tax situations. They will map out your federal liability, your state exposure, and the timeline for estimated payments. After the CPA, you call a fee-only financial advisor. This part matters. A fee-only advisor charges you a flat rate or an hourly rate for their counsel. They do not earn commissions on the products they recommend. A commission-based advisor managing $227 million and charging just 1% annually takes $2.27 million from you every year. Over a decade, that's $22.7 million. For context, you could buy a house outright in most American cities for what a commission-based advisor will quietly extract from your portfolio in 3 years. 3 phone calls. Attorney, CPA, fee-only advisor, in that order, before your mother, before your brother, before the fishing trip on Sunday. Chapter 4. The blind trust with the boring name. Your attorney's first recommendation will be to form a legal entity to claim the prize on your behalf. In roughly 23 states, lottery winners can remain anonymous, either fully or under certain conditions. In the states that require public disclosure, a revocable living trust can claim the prize, so the trust's name appears in the press release instead of yours. The trust will have a boring name, something like Hillcrest Holdings or 214 Cedar Lane Trust. Nothing flashy, nothing clever. The name should be so unremarkable that a reporter scrolling the Lottery Commission's records would pass right over it. This is not tax evasion. This is not hiding money from the government. The IRS will know exactly who you are. You'll file returns. You'll pay every dollar. The trust exists to protect your name from the public. Because the moment your name hits a press release, the following things happen, and they happen fast. People you haven't spoken to in 15 years will text you, some of them within hours. Investment advisors will cold call you. Charities will send letters. Strangers will mail you handwritten requests for money with medical records attached. Researchers have documented that large lottery winners see burglary risk increase by roughly 40%. 1 in 4 reported winners have experienced some form of cybercrime or scam attempt. Your cousin who you see at Thanksgiving will call. Your old college roommate will call. Your neighbor will knock on your door with a business opportunity. And every one of these interactions will carry a weight that you cannot undo, because once someone knows you have $227 million, the relationship changes at a molecular level. You are no longer a person to them. You are a resource. The trust keeps you a person. Chapter 5. The $19,000 Problem. Here's where the silence starts to crack. Because you love your mother, you love your brother, and they need things, real things. Your mother's knee has been bad for 2 years, and she's been putting off the surgery because of the deductible. Your brother's car has 214,000 miles on it. Your wife's student loans sit at $38,000, and the monthly payment is $410, and you have $227 million. So you want to help, of course you do, but the tax code doesn't care about your love. In 2026, the annual gift tax exclusion is $19,000 per recipient. That means you can give any individual up to $19,000 in a calendar year without reporting it to the IRS. If you're married and your spouse agrees, you can combine your exclusions and give $38,000 per person. Beyond that amount, the excess counts against your lifetime gift and estate tax exemption. That lifetime exemption, as of 2026, sits at $15 million per individual. $30 million for a married couple. That sounds like a lot, and for most Americans it is. But your estate is $227 million. The amount above your exemption, roughly $212 million, faces a 40% federal estate tax when you die. That's $85 million the government takes from your heirs if you don't plan for it. So your attorney will set up structures, irrevocable trusts, family limited partnerships, possibly a charitable remainder trust. These are legal, well-documented vehicles that can reduce your estate tax exposure over time by moving assets out of your taxable estate while you're still alive. But the emotional math is harder than the tax math, because your mother is going to look at you one day and ask why you seem different. And you will have to decide in that moment how much truth the relationship can hold. Some winners tell nobody for years. Some tell one person. Some tell everyone and regret it within 6 months. Here's a question that genuinely matters. If you had this money right now, who is the first person you'd tell and why? Leave that in the comments. Not the name, just the relationship. Mother, brother, best friend, nobody. I want to know. Chapter 6. The Portfolio That Does Nothing. 14 months from now, if you follow the plan, your money will be sitting in one of the most boring arrangements in modern finance. And boring is exactly the point. Your fee-only advisor will likely recommend some version of a diversified portfolio, heavy on low-cost index funds, a broad stock market fund, a bond allocation, maybe some international exposure. The specifics will depend on your age, your goals, and how much volatility you can stomach. But the architecture will not be exciting. There will be no crypto, no angel investments in your friend's app, no commercial real estate deal that a guy at a dinner party pitched you. The portfolio just sits there, and it generates income. At a conservative perpetual withdrawal rate of roughly 3%, which is designed to let you pull income indefinitely while preserving the inflation-adjusted principal, $225 million generates approximately $6.75 million per year. That's about $562,000 per month, before taxes on the withdrawals, but still, $562,000 every month without touching the principal. The traditional 4% safe withdrawal rate, first documented by financial planner William Bengen in 1994, was designed for 30-year retirements. If you're 35 years old and plan to live another 50 or 60 years, 4% may be too aggressive. Perpetual rates typically sit 0.5 to 1.5 percentage points lower. At 3%, the principal theoretically survives forever. Your grandchildren inherit the machine, not just the output. But here's the quiet danger. $562,000 a month is so far beyond any frame of reference you've ever had that the number stops feeling real. And when numbers stop feeling real, you start making decisions that aren't grounded in anything. A $4 million house isn't that bad when you're making $6.75 million a year. A $200,000 car is nothing. A $50,000 donation to every cause that sends you a letter barely moves the needle. These sentences sound reasonable. They are the exact sentences that precede financial collapse in nearly every documented case of lottery winner bankruptcy. The portfolio does nothing. That's its job. Your job is to let it. Chapter 7. The Longest Lie You'll Ever Tell. Psychologist Stephen Goldbart coined the term sudden wealth syndrome in the 1990s after observing clients who had received large windfalls experiencing symptoms that resembled post-traumatic stress. Not a formal clinical diagnosis, but a recognized pattern among therapists who work with the newly wealthy. The symptoms are consistent: identity crisis, guilt, paranoia, insomnia, social isolation, and a deep uncertainty about who you are now, that the thing you spent your whole life worrying about, money, is no longer a constraint. You will feel this. Maybe not in the first week when the adrenaline is still electric, but in the third month, in the fifth month. You'll be standing in your kitchen, the same kitchen, making the same coffee, and you will feel a separation from your own life, as if you're watching yourself from across the room. Your wife will notice. She'll ask what's wrong, and you'll say, nothing, just tired. And the lie will sit in your chest like a stone, and you'll wonder if the money is worth this particular kind of loneliness. It is, but not because of what the money can buy, because of what the money can prevent. Medical bankruptcy, retirement anxiety, the slow grinding erosion of watching your parents age without being able to help. The money solves real problems, but the silence around the money creates new ones that don't have a line item in a spreadsheet. Some therapists who specialize in high net worth clients recommend establishing a wealth identity before making any large purchases or lifestyle changes. This means sitting with the new reality for at least 6 months, continuing your normal routines, and working with a psychologist to process the guilt and dislocation before they calcify into something permanent. You keep going to work. Not because you need to, because right now, work is the last place where people treat you like a normal person, and that's worth more than any number in any account. Chapter 8. The envelope is gone. The envelope is not in the sock drawer anymore. It's been 12 weeks. The ticket was claimed by Hillcrest Holdings Trust on a Tuesday morning in a quiet office at the State Lottery Commission. There were no cameras, no oversized check, no press conference. A woman behind a desk processed the paperwork, verified the trust documents, and told you the funds would be deposited within 15 business days. You thanked her. You drove home. The deposit hit the trust's account on a Thursday. You looked at the number on the screen for a long time. Then you closed the laptop and went for a walk. You didn't buy anything. You didn't call anyone. You walked around your neighborhood for 40 minutes and noticed things you'd never noticed before. A garden 2 streets over with tomatoes growing on a wire frame. A dog sleeping on a porch. A kid riding a bike with no hands. Your mother got the knee surgery 3 weeks later. The trust paid the hospital directly. She thinks a new insurance policy kicked in. She called to tell you how grateful she was, and you said, "That's great, Mom." And your voice was steady. And after you hung up, you sat in your car in a parking lot for 20 minutes. Your brother still has the old car. You're working on that. Slowly, through the right channels, in a way that doesn't trigger a question you're not ready to answer. Your wife knows. You told her on a Sunday night, 8 weeks after the CVS. She didn't scream. She didn't cry either. She sat very still for a long time and then asked, "How long have you known?" And when you told her, she didn't get angry. She got quiet. And in the quiet, she said, "Thank you for being careful." The coffee maker still drips. The cabinet hinge is fixed. You go to work on Monday. The portfolio does nothing. The trust has a boring name. The $562,000 hits the account like a direct deposit from a company that doesn't exist in anyone's imagination but yours. You won $600 million and told nobody. And the telling nobody is the hardest, loneliest, most disciplined, most expensive feeling act of your entire life. But you did it. And in 5 years, when roughly a third of big winners have crumbled under the weight of publicity and bad advice and family fractures and guilt and million-dollar mistakes, you will still be standing in your kitchen, making the same coffee, in the same house, on the same street, and nobody will know. And that will be enough.